Welcome to Facts for Real videos. From the building of a bridge to a skyway crashing to the ocean's bottom. So high that it would take a falling car 10 full seconds to hit it. The surface in this movie. We'll examine the world's scariest bridges and go on an exploration. Their tragic pasts. Tell us in the comments which of these constructions you would least like to cross. Start with that. Number 10. The cities of Baoshan and Tangjiang are separated by a stretch of rocky hilly terrain in China's Yunnan province, which was home to an earthquake in 2011. The government planned to build a daring network of roads, tunnels, and an expressway to connect these cities. Anyone courageous enough to drive across a bridge, especially the towering Longjiang suspension bridge, will find themselves 300 meters above the ground and desperately hoping. The bridge does not begin to tremble. Longjiang is located deep within an earthquake zone, a region of China with tremors so powerful they have crushed entire cities and destroyed 400,000 local structures in a matter of seconds. The Longjiang suspension bridge is equipped with cutting-edge movable joints that are intended to withstand strong earthquakes and prevent the bridge from collapsing. Nonetheless, with or without these flexible joints, the thought of being 300 meters above ground and experiencing a strong earthquake, anyone would feel uneasy just looking at the ground. Just the beginning is the Longjiang suspension bridge. If earthquakes are already a terrible possibility, what does that make of a bridge that previously gave way? Number 9. The Skyway submerged. This enormous span crosses Tampa Bay's mouth on the Florida coast. It is 7 kilometers long, provides breathtaking views of the Gulf of Mexico, and makes traveling between Teresita and simple. They refer to it as the Sunshine Skyway in St. Petersburg. But there's a bad history to this bridge. The bridge has really through two iterations. The initial one was built back in the 1950s. It was the longest bridge in the entire United States and a masterpiece of American engineering. Then, on a windy May morning in 1980, catastrophe struck. In choppy waters, a massive cargo named the MV Summit Venture lost control and slammed into the bridge, knocking a piece into the water. 8 vehicles, including a bus carrying passengers, crashed into the water. Later, the original bridge was destroyed and replaced with a modern, safer model. To provide protection, defensive bumpers were positioned in the river. The day's worth by protecting the bridge from collisions in the future and bumpers. A shrimping vessel collided with a bumper before the new bridge opened, sinking the ship but leaving the bridge unscathed. Even after more than 35 years, this bridge is still in place. However, the Sunshine Skyway will forever carry the burden of its horrifically dark past. The former's shattered bits. The next place we reach has bridge still submerged at the bottom of the water. Number 8. The bridge over a skyscraper. The Longjiang suspension bridge, like the Sidu River Bridge, is located in China's Hubei province. It was constructed to cross a range of mountains and link the two major cities of Shanghai and Chongqing. The population of these cities as a whole is 50 million. It indicates that, in contrast, the Sidu River Bridge sees a lot of traffic. There aren't many earthquakes in Yunnan Hubei, however that doesn't mean the bridge spans for the Sidu River Bridge were simple to construct. The space between two tall peaks, the slopes of which were difficult for employees to access. To go from one side to the other was extremely challenging. That the first cables were cast between by means of rockets. Never previously had this method been employed. However, exceptional issues demand exceptional fixes. Over 3 years of difficult, treacherous effort. When the bridge was ultimately finished, the distance from the bridge deck to the valley floor was a startling 500 meters, giving some perspective on how tall the bridge was. It was possible to position the Empire State Building underneath. There would still be room for other items. The tallest bridge in the world isn't even this one. That one will be covered later. Number 7. The words "the bridge of blood and tears" were previously used to characterize it. Engineering viewpoint, the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. The longest sea bridge in the world is a wonder. 55 kilometers are required to complete the linking the Macau and Hong Kong-Zhuhai Pearl Bay metropolis. But there is a heated debate over this bridge. when hazardous conditions resulted in the deaths of over 20 construction employees during the course of work in 2017. On top of that, the terrible corruption scandal shook the bridge. Limited Jacobs China. The company that supplied the concrete for the project was subjected to a fabricated test results as opposed to performing appropriate safety assessments, according to civil engineers. That the fortifications that are supposed to shield the massive structure from heavy waves can be seen on the bridges are ineffective. The Hong Kong administration has refuted these allegations. The bridge is in danger, though, according to the engineers. Number 6. Another hilly region of China has a bridge that is on stilts. The province of Guizhou. In relation to bridges, Guizhou is quite unique. To put it into perspective, the province boasts approximately 1,000 bridges with deck heights of 100 meters or more. Outside of China, hardly a single nation has more than 100 high-decked bridges. The closest country is Italy. That only has 60, which is a negligible amount in comparison to Guizhou. The construction of thousands of Guizhou bridges facilitated transport between the region's major urban areas by enabling inhabitants to bypass, rather than detour around, mountains. The Yongbaoshan Suspension Bridge makes the trip from Guiyang City to Huangping County only 1 hour long instead of 3.5. Some people refer to Yongbaoshan as a bridge on stilts. The bridge's legs are 110 meters long, almost twice as long. The length of the most well-known suspension bridge in the world. The deck of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. It is located more than 300 meters above the raging Kimchi River. It's both thrilling and terrifying, a thrilling way to commute. Number 5. A dreadful arch bridge. The following bridge is also located in the province of Guizhou. Millions of individuals who travel between the bridges benefit from the Dafa Chu Bridge's connection between Run, Hawaii and Zuni. For the Guizhou people, who have lived there for countless years, these are a modern marvel. The towering mountains were practically insurmountable. But all of the bridges are now starting to change as a result of this. So far, the only types of bridges we've seen are cable-stayed or suspension ones. Cables attached to bridge towers on a suspension bridge support the deck. There is only one major cable running between two towers and the rest. There are cords attached to that. Cables are one kind of support, though. An elevated bridge deck. 6 lanes of the commuter highway are supported by a tubular arch on the Dafaka Bridge. This kind of construction harkens back to prehistoric China, where water bodies were frequently crossed using wooden arch bridges. But never to the level of Dafa 2 Cross, and is 410 meters long. 280 meters high. Will be arriving back in Guizhou at a later time. This bridge is only one of many in the province, and is twice as high. But first, it's time to examine the America's most frightful bridge. Number 4. The bridge to nowhere. Most bridges are constructed in order to facilitate transportation. From A to B, travel is simpler. But Colorado's Royal Gorge Bridge, USA, was constructed with a very different goal in mind: to astound people. It serves as the focal point of a theme park near the Rocky Mountains. Mountains constructed initially in the 1920s. Open to visitors ever since. It's a bridge to nowhere, literally. You won't have any other options once you get to the other side. But at a height of 290 meters to turn around and return. Despite losing that title, it was formerly the tallest bridge in the world. This bloody bridge is still as horrifying as ever. A wingsuiter perished while attempting to fly beneath it in 2003. He underestimated his distance from the bridge and crashed into a railing at a speed of approximately 200 kilometers per hour. Each year, the Royal Gorge Bridge draws tens of thousands of adventure-seeking tourists. It's simple to comprehend. Why not? But perhaps those travelers should concentrate on China instead. The following bridge on the list is. The Royal Gorge seems really tiny. Number 3. Another illustration of the outstanding infrastructure in Guizhou Province is the Pingtong Bridge, which is China's tallest bridge. More over 2 kilometers long, this cable-supported viaduct crosses the breadth of the Quadu River Valley. It connects Pingtong with Lordian, cutting the distance traveled from 2.5 hours to 1.3 towers that each measure more than 300 meters from top to bottom serve as the bridge's supports. The same as a structure with 110 floors if you can. 3 replicas of the Shard or 3 replicas of the Chrysler Building connected by a 4-lane roadway. That is what the Pingtong bridge builders have accomplished. Between terror and there is a thin line to walk. One will experience both while driving across such a massive structure, wonder. However, to find the tallest bridge in the world, we must travel to Europe. The southern French Valley. Number 2, the tallest bridge in the world in the latter half of the 20th century. Road congestion was a problem in the southern French region of Tarn Valley. Tourists frequented the area that the government chose to construct a viaduct across as it traveled from Paris to Spain. The Tarn Valley, which offers a different path and relieves traffic in the cities and villages. The end result was a bridge that the world had never seen before. Compared to the Pingtong Bridge, it covers a distance of 2.5 kilometers and is substantially longer. It is supported by 7 enormous concrete towers. The largest of these is the steel deck, which is 340 meters high. It is taller than any single structure in all of France, even the Eiffel Tower. 2 full minutes of dizziness are required to drive across, in addition to 2 full minutes of nausea. For the reason that we must make one last journey to the Gijeo province, the superbridge center of the globe, this bridge still isn't the most dangerous one in the world. Number 1, the tallest bridge in the world. There are 2 ways to consider a bridge's size. Some people gauge their stature by how tall their towers are. Others consider the Millau Viaduct to hold that record. In the case of Millau, the separation between the valley floor and the road deck. The deck is located 270 meters above sea level. That is an incredible height. However, there is a bridge in Gijeo that more than doubles that distance with plenty to spare. Exactly where Gijeo and are separated by the Duga Bridge. Yunnan shortens the journey from 5 hours to 1 because it passes through such a mountainous terrain. The bridge is built across a rough, jagged canyon that has a raging river at its base. There are a vertiginous 565 meters beneath that river. The deck of the bridge has the greatest drop of any bridge in the world. Just 5 structures in the entire globe are too large to fit beneath. Suppose someone fell from the Duga Bridge's deck. They would need approximately 15 seconds to strike the side. Long enough to realize the bottom. What is occurring causes terror. Say a quick prayer while you still have time. Would you be daring to cross such an incredible distance, which would make it the most dangerous bridge in the world? Sufficient to traverse any of these bridges. Which one do you think is the scariest? Tell us in the comments section below. Watch our film on the most outrageous bridge demolitions in the world if you want to learn more about projects that are similar to this one. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next video.